Principles, the podcast where we dive deep into the art, science, and mastery of pleasure, its power to transform, connect, and uplift. I'm your host Avik, and today's episode promises to be as profound as it's playful. So, joining me is someone who needs no introduction, but trust me, you will want to hear it anyway. So, okay, I'll bring it like this. Imagine if Eckhart Tolle, Robin Williamson, and Brinny Brown and Dr. Shoes had a wild karaoke night, and out of it emerged a soul who could strum a guitar, spark deep insights, and keep you laughing till your cheeks hurt. Yes. I guess you understood who I'm talking about. That's Scott Grace for you. So welcome to the show, Scott.
Well, thank you for having me. Wow, what an introduction. The pressure is on.
So I'll quickly, briefly mention this to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Scott is a motivational troubadour, conscious comedian, and spiritual wisdom weaver with decades of experience. And trust me, there's nothing quite like the magic he brings to a conversation. And today we are exploring the innocence and spiritual purpose of pleasure, not just the sensual kind, but the full spectrum of joy that makes life worth living. So buckle up for some laughs, a few rhymes, and plenty of aha moments. So welcome to the show again.
Well, thank you. I feel welcome by you.
Lovely, lovely. So Scott, before we delve deep into this, I have to ask, when you think about the innocence of pleasure, what's the first image or maybe a memory that pops into your mind?
Dolphins. Dolphins do three things. They they play, they make
Mhm.
love, and they eat.
Yeah.
And they always have a smile on their face. And they seem to know that this is a recreational universe. And I seem
Mm.
to have forgotten. So I like dolphins to help me they remind me who I really am and that I deserve to spend my life eating,
Mhm.
making love,
Okay.
and what was the third one? Playing, jumping up and
Yeah.
down, bubbly joy
Yeah.
from one pleasure to another.
Exactly. Wow. And so I definitely love that, and such a great siege. I mean, into this. So, uh, what does the word pleasure mean to you? And um, if you can briefly mention this, and how has this meaning evolved in your life?
Well, pleasure, like everything, has been um, a a source of pain and a source of pleasure. There are times where pleasures hold me back because I get addicted to them and I'm not willing
Mhm.
to feel certain feelings and deal with issues.
Mhm.
That pleasure can become a distraction. But what pleasure has been for me, it has, in terms of gold, in terms of innocence, it's
Mhm.
it reminds me that my natural state is to be pleased, pleasure, to be happy, joyful, to walk, skip, dance, sing through this life with childlike heart,
Uh-huh.
with spontaneity. And so pleasure reminds me that I'm innocent, original innocence.
Mm, lovely. And how do you balance the instinctive or maybe the physical aspects of pleasure with its deeper and the spiritual dimensions?
Wow. That's an interesting question.
Mhm.
Let's see. Well, you asked me, so I'll just think of myself as w- I I have a lot of pleasures in my life from sports to food and all kinds of things. And uh, how I perceive it as a spiritual thing is by
Mhm.
practicing gratitude. So this
Mhm.
morning I had a breakfast, and before this meal and any meal, I
Mhm.
put my hands over the food and I say, "Thank you so much, Mother Earth, for providing the bounty on my plate right
Mhm.
now. Thank you, all the farmers that grew this food.
Yeah.
Thank you, the cooks, if there are cooks involved besides myself." And I'm grateful for every pleasure, not from a
Mm.
place of, I am not worthy, and yet God has blessed me with all this stuff. No, gratitude is just acknowledging, hey, I'm a lucky duck. Every breath is taken care of.
Mm.
Every breath. I don't even have to breathe. It'll just happen. That's how much we're taken care of while we're here.
Wow. Lovely. I mean, do you think that we as adults have forgotten how to approach pleasure innocently?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. By being gluttons, by being addicted to pleasure, we're trying to make up for the fact that we feel guilty for even wanting pleasure. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Now, that has been misunderstood because
Mm.
the word want back in the day meant lack. I shall not lack. I shall not
Okay.
lack for anything.
Mm.
So, but the way that it's been interpreted is I shall not have desires. I shall not
Mm.
want to have pleasure. I shall feel guilty for even wanting pleasure. And when I take pleasures, I will feel even more guilty so that I can
Mm.
obey this God of punishment. It's
Mm.
ridiculous. And you know that I think I've shared this on one of your podcasts, the Garden of Ease
Yeah.
rhyme, but it's all about pleasure and innocence and how we block our hearts from receiving what the universe is just wanting to pour through. I'd like to read you a little bit if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Get in your pajamas. Let's gather and snuggle. And I'll tell you a story. The story of struggle. It begins at a time before struggle began, in a garden called Eden, where all things were grand. The people who tended the garden had fun. They
Mm.
prospered and pleasured and got lots of things done. One day, two folks, call them Adam and Eve, went
Mhm.
under their covers with shame and some leaves. And then came the blame game. Who cut the cheese? Was it Eve or a snake or the wrong choice of trees? The day-to-day play, all the pleasure they were given, gave way to this sense, we must work for a living. And God did reply, kids, you gotta be kidding. Everything you
Mm.
could want is right here, not forbidden. But they would not. They could not receive the good news. They thought that to play, they must first pay their dues. By the sweat of thy brow, we must now earn our bread. And they didn't know the gluten had gone to their heads. Then they passed this confusion right on to their kids, hiding their loins with more leaves for more figs, teaching their offspring original sin, who then passed it off to their nextest of kin. And they made their cause noble. They justified pain. To suffer's God's will. No pain means no gain. And if you have struggled through life unabated, when you die, your rewards card will be activated. That's when you cash in your hard sacrifices and rest up in heaven with the rest of the righteous. And so, us humans, we assumed the position of forgetting God's love
Mm.
didn't come with conditions. We dreamed up a God with a list of demands, with rules and judgments, and a whip in his hands. And over the seas came the pure Puritans to spread the work ethic all over the land. The pleasures of life must not ever be trusted. If you dare enjoy sex, you're eternally busted. God sits on a cloud with his one only son, and they both wear a frown if you're having fun. But if you can grab a bull by its horns, well, then God is pleased and might send less shitstorms. And then on your tombstone, your tribute might say, he worked hard for the money and toiled each day. He played by the rules, never did make a scene. And here lies his body along with his dreams.
Mm. Wow. Lovely. Really, really lovely. Yeah. And let's talk about the connection between pleasure and the creativity. So, how do you use pleasure, whether it's humor, music, or spontaneity, as a creative tool in your work?
I don't.
No, could you?
I
Okay.
well, I'm gonna get around to explaining that. For me, uh, I could use a lot more
Oh,
integration between recreation and creativity. I
okay.
find that I have this, okay, the fun is done, let's get to work attitude,
Mm.
and I still separate uh, recreation from
Mm.
occupation. So when I'm at the computer, I'm doing my responsibilities. I have a frown on my face, and I can't wait to be done. And so I have some work to do on this. And some things that come to mind
Mm.
is put some really happy music on while I'm doing menial tasks. Dance while I'm doing those tasks. Move my body. Start to integrate that pleasure and responsibility can go together, can be
True.
one and the same. I live in a country, Mexico, where it seems like celebration of life is 24/7, whether they're
Mm.
at work or at play, the weekend, the weekday, they just love life. And I want more of that in my life,
Mm.
that
Really
consciousness.
lovely. Yeah, that's so lovely. Yeah. And also, like, uh I can only imagine the joy, I mean, everyone feel when they experience the performances. So, do you think that joy is contagious, or is sharing pleasure a way of creating community?
Both. Wow, yeah. I'll take both. I'll have both, senor. Why would there be a difference? Say the question again. Let's see if I can rhyme or sing my answer.
Oh, okay, okay. So I'm saying like what to say? Like uh, many people feel that they experience the performances. Now, what according to you, I mean, is the joy contagious, or is sharing pleasure a way of creating the community?
Sharing joy is most definitely contagious. It
Mhm.
helps other people get out of their cages. When you share joy, it's downright outrageous. So let's share the joy with our communities and teach people it is safe to be pleased.
Mm.
You can study this stuff till you're blue in the face or dive into the ocean of amazing grace. You can't really learn this from a book,
Hmm.
but you can get it through osmosis, meaning, yes, joy is contagious. Children need to see adults happy. They need to see that being grown up can be fun and making the world a better place can be done with a smile on your face.
Exactly. And okay, so you mentioned your spiritual Dr. Seuss, the persona. How do I mean, how do humor and playfulness open people up to experiencing the pleasure in a way that they might not expect?
Oh, this wow. You're asking me to dissect, to put under a microscope to left brain something that I am intuitively uh, driven to do. And I know it makes somebody said, and I have to look this up to find out who it is. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you make them feel. And that's where, joy is contagious. And we learn best from feelings that
Mm.
yeah. So I find it difficult to be a professor or an analysis of this natural instinctual thing that I do and that we all do. What I'm most interested in is how to help others rediscover what's natural, what's innate, human nature before original sin took hold. That's and I find I do that best through music and poetry and comedy.
Okay, lovely. And
So
and
yeah.
also, yeah. So I was about to ask, like, uh, is there a rhyme that you have created?
Yes, yes. Actually, it'll be a song,
Yeah. Oh,
and
okay.
but it was written. Okay, so when I was 8 years old, I was
Mm.
walking through the playground with my parents, and I saw monkey bars, and I like a little plaything, and I ran over and I climbed the monkey bars, and my parents kept walking, and then I ran over to them and continued the walk through the park, and I said, "Mom, Dad, do you think when I grow up, I won't do things like that, like spontaneously run over to the monkey bars and play? Is that what being an adult is it all about?" And they said, "Yes." And I remember making an inner vow that I would not let myself go there. I would not become anything like the workaholics that my parents were.
Mm.
And I wrote the song in my 20s to cement the deal, make a
Okay.
vow. I got a brand new occupation, and it's to live in celebration every day, every moment of my life. I got a brand new occupation, and it's to live in celebration every day, every moment of my life. It used to be misery was my full-time job. Weekends and holidays I could play. Then I saw the little ones, 24 hours of having fun. I knew that I was born to live that way. I got a brand new occupation, and it's to live in celebration every day, every moment of my life. I used to take my pleasures when the time was right. when the proper people gave me their okay. Okay. Then I saw when it came to good cheer, this world needed some pioneers. Now I let myself be joyful every day. I got a brand new occupation. It's to live in celebration every day, every moment of my life, every day, every moment, every day, every moment, every day, every moment of my life. He's
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome, I have to say. Yeah, yeah. Lovely. Great, dear listeners. I guess you all are enjoying about this. And what a lovely song, I would say. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and those beautiful songs and the rhymes. So I really love it. Yeah. So, for those who are listening right now, what's one small or joyful practice they can incorporate into their lives today to begin reconnecting with the innocence of pleasure? What to say?
well, what's coming is practice
Mhm.
an inner smile,
Okay.
practice it, fake it. If you're not feeling it, pretend.
Mhm.
When you look at yourself in the mirror, wink and stick out your tongue and say, you are an innocent, worthy, deserving dolphin of the universe.
Oh, wow. Lovely. Lovely. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Pleasure Principles, dear listeners. And a huge thank you to Scott for sharing his humor, wisdom, soulful songs, and the rhymes with us today.
My goodness. May I jump in here? I would like to
Please.
say that if anybody wants to connect with me, uh, I have a life coaching practice. I've got books. It's all and the spiritual Dr. Seuss is right there on my website.
Mhm.
Comedy, just go to www.scottsongs.com. SCOTTSONGS.com.
Mm. Wow. Lovely. Great. And dear listeners, I'll put this into the show notes for your reference. And if you want to experience more of Scott's magic, make sure to check out his YouTube channel and his book, Mindful Masculinity, and all the other incredible work he is putting out into the world. So, if you have enjoyed this episode, do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little more joy in their life. So, until
Yes.
next time, this is your host Avik signing off. Stay curious, stay playful, and keep exploring the pleasures, or I would say, principles of pleasure. So, thank you so much.
Mm.